Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hanging Out with Howie. And as always, I have my number one wingman, Brian S. Red here, and my cohort in shenanigans and crime, Jay Brennan.
How are you?
My road dog, John Crawley from Boston, Mass. We have Bill Marsh from lovely Maryland and Carlisle Entertainment.
Everyone gets these beautiful introductions, and Bill gets, and we got Bill.
Yeah.
Well, that's like
no. I
lovely Maryland.
I even said Maryland, and I named his company. Can't beat that.
So
he got good press.
To you. He's got to be like your man in Maryland or something.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he is
a guy with crabs.
He is my soothsayer of all things legal music.
There you go.
He really is.
And the guy with crabs.
And the guy with crabs, yes. Anyway, before we start, I want to give a quick shout out to two people. First, DJ Mikey Mike, who is in the room with us right now. He has been an avid follower and sharer of everything that we do and a big supporter of ours. So thank you so much for being here, Mikey Mike. He is from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. So thank you so much for being here, Mikey Mike. And our second shout out I want to give out to Alex the Bubble, who had a great topic for the show tonight, but he had an operation and nothing serious. He will be back with us next week, but Alex, let you know that we're thinking of you and wishing you the best. So we have two topics tonight. I was going to start out with, and I do want to go with Bill's right after that, because I think this one will be a quick one. I noticed lately, well, actually I've noticed it for quite a while, but the last show, there were over 20 people in there and there were like 9 thumbs up. And I'm wondering, like, what's up with that? I see this on Brian's videos, thousands of views and 30 likes. And I'm just wondering, does anybody have any insight to the psychology of that? Why wouldn't you're getting free information, and more oftentimes than not, it's gold nuggets, like, what do you think holds people back from just at least giving a thumbs up?
I think it's a simple oversight. I mean, when you watch TV, you don't have to do anything with the program. You just watch it. I watch videos all the time and that I like, and I don't think to like them. And then in a lot of videos, people will say, "Hey, don't forget to like." I'm like, "Gosh, I better like that video." So it's a simple oversight. I don't think it's malice or
no, I don't think so either.
I think it's just a simple oversight, and it's just the way that platform works.
I think it's a disconnect.
You think?
where the platform works.
Yeah, I agree with Brian. I think
doing it.
I'm on TikTok a lot, and I'll go to my page, and I mean, I have hundreds and hundreds of likes that I've put out, because with TikTok, as with Instagram, and especially, obviously on your phone, you just tap the screen and you've now liked it. With YouTube, you've got to go out of your way to like it. You can't just, if YouTube, at least on the mobile app, could make it that if you double tap the screen, you like it, I think you would see those numbers go back exponentially. But with and I said this to somebody today about the difference between YouTube and TikTok. Granted, I can watch hour-long, 2-hour, 10-hour videos on YouTube, but with TikTok, you're constantly swiping. Oh, that's cool. Double tap. There's a bigger sense. Same with Instagram. There's a bigger sense of liking than YouTube, because I'm looking at Brian's video, DJ versus DJ, the other night. He's got 3,600 views. It's a great video, but he only has 205 likes. But if you go by percentages, he has 70 comments. So if you look at it bare bones, not even the 70 commenters, they may have all liked it, which gives you 130. I mean, you're talking about less than 2% of everyone that watched it. And I know liked it.
Well, something else to consider is, I mean, empathy is very important. Where's the other person coming from? They may be coming from their television set, sitting in their living room. And maybe it's not an easy thing to like the video from your television set. Or ultimately, maybe they're watching it on their phone or listening to it while they're driving or who knows what. And it's not a convenient thing to do. When you're on a computer, you're more likely to do things like that. But when you are watching on another platform, who knows? But yeah, I mean...
No, that's a very, very interesting observation. I just learned something because I use the laptop and it's easy to go click like, but I didn't know that on a phone you had to double tap. Maybe people don't know that.
Well, maybe not. But I mean, like I say, I have several people who will say, yeah, well, quite a few people actually. My wife and I will watch you sometimes in the living room on our TV. I never even thought about doing that. I always assume everybody sits down at their computer and dedicates time to it, but I guess not. If you got YouTube on your TV, you might as well use that. It's a bigger screen.
Yeah,
and there's another argument for making sure you look good because you're not on a small screen anymore. You're blown up on a 65-inch TV and they can see every pimple you've ever had your whole life. So maybe be careful about that. Makes you a little paranoid.
Very true.
But, yeah, you don't know how people are consuming or viewing your content.
You're exactly right, Brian, because a lot of times when you're watching them on a mobile device, you get into the video and you see there's 100 comments. You start digging into the comments, and when the comment screen to view them comes up, it blocks the like and that whole panel.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I find the videos ended. I have to go back and go, oh crap, I forgot to like that one. So just structurally, the way that YouTube is constructed for mobile, if it's something that you want to read along with the comments as you're watching the video, you have to be mindful of shutting that section of the screen down, and then the like button comes back, and then you can edit. And a lot of them say it at the top of the videos too to make it top of mind. Please like and subscribe.
I think that's key. I think that's key if you want to hustle the likes, which is what I call it. It is what it is. I mean, they're parodying it all the time. I just watched this Korean zombie series on Netflix. We're all dead or something like that. I forget. All of us are dead or something like that. It's called. But there's
your zombies.
Another happy show for Brian.
There's a blogger. There's a blogger who's going into the zombie zone to on TikTok or whatever. It's a live video. And the whole time he's like, oh my gosh, look at all the zombies. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And oh my gosh, don't forget to visit my Patreon. Oh, look at these zombie killings.
Yeah.
People hustle it. But that's a little, I don't know, in your face. I see people doing things like that though. But
oh yeah.
To simply say at the beginning of your video, hey, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that'd be cool. I think you get more. If you say at the end of the video, a lot of people didn't make it towards the end, or once you start signing off and you say things like, well, that's it, they might turn off the screen. They don't care about your exit thing you say.
Right.
So if you see the beginning of the video, people are, oh yeah, might as well click like, now I like this person or whatever.
Well, and I think analytics come into play. I was talking to someone about YouTube the other day, and I looked up my page analytics. My average watch time over my top 10 videos are all in excess of 3 minutes. Like my 280,000, 200,000, 150,000, they're all over 3 minutes long. Some of them are as long as 8 minutes.
Wow.
But my average watch time per user on my channel is 1:31.
Do you know why?
Wow.
No.
Because all your videos are DJ tips under a minute.
That's part of it, yeah.
They can't watch pretty long.
So I'm actually like, wow, they went.
That was a good burn. That was a good burn.
No, it's true. That's
true.
That's his thing. Now, YouTube as a platform will reward you for longer videos.
No, yes, and that's where you have to extend the content. Yeah. I think it's a funny thing, and the new thing with some of the big hitters on YouTube that I watch is they start the video with like, hey everyone, it's Jay. I'm really excited today. I'm in my office. I've got this cool light on. By the way, I want to talk about today's sponsor. And then they spend 2 minutes. So that forces me to scroll forward.
You're right, me too.
Always like, but what's funny is I tend to like videos faster when they go, hey, I've got the video broken up into chapters. So if all you care about is how to actually do this, you can go to 5 minutes and 12 seconds on the time mark. But in the beginning, I'm going to explain the background. But if you already know that, feel free to jump ahead to 5 minutes. And I'm like, And when you look at it down the road, you're like, according to YouTube analytics, I've already watched the first 5 minutes because I jumped,
Right.
because I started at 0. So it's a genius move. But they, like Brian said, they might say in the middle of it, hey, if you got a second, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, subscribe, and smash that bell so you know when notifications are coming up and I have new videos. So back to the video.
Yeah,
And it's almost like,
anytime anybody asks me to
that.
smash something, I typically unsubscribe to their channel. I don't know what it is, but
It's because it's what the young
don't
kids
like
do.
it.
Don't know how to smash for you.
Smash.
I don't like
Well,
it.
hey, I want to thank you, Jay, for that. So now, like when I watch Brian's videos, I could skip to like the last 30 seconds and I don't have to really
And you can hear him
watch
say
it.
practice and enjoy and just move on.
Yeah.
Basically,
Oh,
yeah. That's about it.
I'm sure Brian appreciates that now too. So that's good.
Well, my son asked me why I don't have premium. And I'm like, because it blocks all the ads. He's like, yeah, but that's the whole point. I'm like, yeah, but I'm making a little bit of money off the ads. I really don't want to block what I'm making money from.
Right. The ads are interesting, I think. And
I think so too sometimes. And there have been times I've watched the ads and been like, oh, I actually do care about what this is. And I'll watch a 4-minute ad on a 1-minute video and be like, wow, that was captivating. Then I watch the video. I'm like, this sucked.
This sucks. Yeah.
Going back to Sasquatch. So
there was one about selling your car on recently, and it was showing like, you know, the car's parked under this bridge, and then it shows the bridge is crumbling and falling apart, and then it shows spaceships or something. The car's still sitting there, and it says, it shouldn't take you this long to sell your car. I'm like, that was clever, and I couldn't back it up, and I was disappointed.
That's the part I don't like about the ad.
An ad, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to click on the ad space, the bar down the bottom left or the top left, and be like, okay, let me go to their video, and then I'll come back to it on watch later.
Right. I
Yeah.
thought it was a clever ad.
You got to manipulate everything.
Now maybe I'm weird, but yeah.
No, I'm with you. Some of them are great. There's some guitar ones that are like 4 or 5 minutes long, and the guy's doing an acoustic version of something. I'm like, oh, this is, click. I need to hear this.
Right.
I think they should do more bands that way. Do more bands where like, and sometimes they'll play a song, you're like, oh, whoa, okay, I do like this. Now time goes by where skip ad comes up and you're like, no, let me check a little more out. You know, they're getting what they want. They're getting the watch time, so they win. But yeah, I don't think you can really solve that, Howie. I think it's just nature of the beast.
Yeah, I just was wondering, you know, what your thoughts were on this. So why don't we move on to Bill's suggestion, which I think is a great suggestion. You had an acronym for it as well, Bill. Share it with us.
Well, it's FOMO or FOBO, or there's a few other acronyms, but fear of better options or fear of, better prices even. It's something that for me has been,
Is that FOB?
just rolls off the tongue, don't it?
When you said FOMO, I'm like, fear of missing out. I hate that. It's like 2 a.m. I should go to bed.
Yeah.
This Netflix show about Wisconsin hicks that are killing each other. I can't miss this.
Stop, but I got that problem.
Yep.
Always have my whole life.
But it's always been tough for me making purchasing decisions, especially when it comes to, purchases that of high value, but that need to work for me for a long time, and I don't like buying things, spur of the moment as much as possible. It's what makes DJ Expo very agonizing for me sometimes as a shopping spree.
You're kidding. You mean like with headphones?
Yeah. Exactly. Or even DJ
private joke.
controllers.
3 days, Bill and I talked about headphones at DJ Expo, and did you end up buying a pair?
Yeah, actually, I have 2 pair.
Oh, good.
Okay. I have a pair of the H7s that I got because of Expo. And I have a pair of H5s that I got after Expo, but because of Expo. And that's because, as I showed you all the other day, my pair of HDJ 5000s finally cracked in the headband, and it was just the rubber, but little gaff tape, and they'll still work, and I'll still use. They've
been out of production for about 15 years, and I'm not exaggerating.
Yep.
No, I have a pair. They're awesome.
Yeah, I got them in '98 with my CDJ 700s and 500 mixer.
Actually, they've probably been out of production for even longer. Now that I think of it.
Well,
yeah, no, for like 18 years they've been out.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So but the most recent purchase that we were all discussing, and I showed off a moment ago, is I bought a set of Ape Lab cans.
Nice.
And the price was ridiculous. There was no way to turn it down because of the price. And at the same time, without being able to touch it, without being able to see it, without being able to, make sure they all worked and all that. Oh God, I was just going nuts. But, in the end, I kind of made the decision because I realized worst case scenario, I could get my money back out of them because somebody will buy them for what I bought them for.
And also, if you have any trouble, you have the collective wisdom of the group here. If it's technical in nature, like electronic, you got me. Mm-hmm. And if you need to know how to use them, Brian is like a freaking savant.
Yeah.
Well, to Bill's point, I understand what he's saying. I can remember buying like cheap color television sets and they'd blow up and I get so disappointed. So I went to like the high-end stereo store and I ordered this Panasonic 27-inch, it was.
Oh, you got the big screen.
Right. It was a flat tube screen. I paid dearly for it.
Yeah.
But then I was so annoyed because it wouldn't die. So I could upgrade to an LCD TV 15 years later because the damn thing was just too good. So now it's like, you know what? I want to buy television sets at Walmart always and hope they blow up so I can upgrade to the next one that's going to come out next year. Because not like the old days. But yeah, to Bill's point, I get it. And I get a lot of DJs who come to me with things. And they'll ask me, first question, I saw your video on this thing. What do you really think of it?
Yeah, I love that. What do you think? Do you really?
Well, I totally lied in the video, so I'll tell you what I really think now.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. That's why you saw the damn thing. But then they'll start like hammering me with what I can only describe as objections. Well, it's pretty small. What if somebody would walk away from it? What's preventing someone to walk away from it? Well, what would you do if you were in this situation? Well, you know what? I don't know. If it doesn't work for this long, then I made a bad. It's like,
what if I have 200 people at the wedding?
I'm sorry. You have me confused with a retail salesperson. I'm not here to talk you into a purchase.
Right.
I'm only here to, if you want to know what I have, I'm happy to. I showed you a video on it. Now you're wasting my time trying to get me to sell you this thing. Like I'm getting commission on the damn thing. Exactly. People are weird like that. Sometimes people just need reassurance.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry, John. Go ahead.
No, that's the level of trust you instill in people. Like we did the video and he's got it in his hands.
I know. Makes me feel great.
Like 45 minutes later, you're like, are we done?
No, as far as the
Bill had something to say.
It doesn't matter how small something is. My very first lesson was, we left something unattended and it was a Marshall amp and they just picked it up and walked out with it. Now, you're worried about an Ape Lab can light. I had a freaking Marshall.
Well, do you know what I say to people when they say things like this to me? I'm like, maybe you ought to think about the clients you're working for.
Yeah.
What kind of parties are you doing, dude?
Yeah, this is like an auto salvage yard in Wisconsin. I can tell you right now, I'm an authority now after 20 hours. Don't leave your lighting around.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said that last week, but after killing off a weekend doing nothing, Netflix and I are going to take a little break.
I swear to God, Bill, you're going to get a word in eventually.
That's okay.
Try one more time.
I would. Well, and I was going to jump in on what you were saying about the videos, and this will tie in since I didn't get to say anything about liking videos either. I am notoriously bad at liking videos, just as bad as I am at liking posts. It sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, that's really cool, and I keep on scrolling, and then I'm like, oh, I forgot to like that, and I have to go back and like it. But I watched your video on the APX 12 Go just a couple of days ago because it also was available at a really good price. And I just wanted to reassure myself that was perhaps a choice worth making.
Brand new, they're at a stupid good price.
Yeah.
Like $250.
Right.
Yeah. And So I went back through and was watching the video, and I looked and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't like this video the first 3 times I watched it.
Why would I like it now?
But
Waiting for the director's cut.
in the end, I did not end up buying those because the seller was honest and said that both had problems with the highs, which is interesting based on your video. But so, yeah,
I think they're pretty good. I mean,
yeah,
to me,
crap
it sounds
in,
like
crap out.
operator error.
That's just audio.
Oh yeah. Well, these were a
Operator
demo.
error.
They were a demo.
Huh.
Yeah.
So yeah, somebody probably intentionally did something they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But no, I really think that having people you trust as resources, and Brian, I've watched your videos more than once in making decisions.
Yeah.
I've gone to some of Jay's videos and the demo videos, but I mean, there's other people too, but oftentimes you find a resource you trust and you use it. And that's kind of why I thought this was a good topic, because I think as a group, there are good resources available through DJNTV.
I can promise you this.
Also, if there's problems with the tweeters, you go back to one of Brian's older videos where he's outside in the back of his truck smoking a cigarette, putting the new driver on the tweeters, and they sound better than they were new.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I really am cautious about, and I've been cautious about for the 15 years I've been doing this crap, and I'm not perfect at this, but I'm very cautious about it, is I try not to show you guys anything that I think is crap. And if I think something's crap, it just takes up room in my house. And I make enemies this way from companies. They just don't like me or don't want to work with me or have bad things to say about me. But I'd rather have that than tell you something's cool that's not, or do a video on a company's product and say it's crap, and that does the company no good. You know what I mean? So I'm only trying to show you things that maybe they aren't for me, but I can see how they'd be useful for someone. And without giving a review, I try to be as forthcoming as I can about the product, where I might give you a suggestion as to how you might use the product. Would you use it for a Ted Nugent concert? Probably not.
No.
Could you use it for making general announcements at a wedding? Yeah, you could do that. So it's those sort of things that I try very hard to do.
It's that real world,
the viewer.
Right. It's the real world opinion. And I stole that from your videos of, hey, this is this thing, and this is how I could do it, and this is what you can use it for. And, famously, one of my, I think, second or third videos I ever did was a vlog. And I took my Revo 3, because I was in a brown space on a stage with brown walls and brown ceiling and brown everything, but I had a white background.
Right.
And I took the Revo 3, and instead of pointing it out where it would do nothing, I put it on the ground, pointed up, and I credit you in the video. And I go, hey, Brian, this is a Brian S. Red trick. Check it out. Look what I'm doing. And the lights are killing it behind me.
Oh, yeah.
The little lights pointed out. I think I had literally park hands on the speaker stands just in sound active. But I think when it's done right, it's a learning process. And I certainly am proud of getting comments every day. Thank you so much. You saved me so much time, bro. You rock. On a video I did 9 years ago. The only place where it gets spacey on my end is I've pretty much established I'm the pioneer DJ guy.
Right.
When people go, man, I loved your video on the XC. I see you use it all your gigs. You've used it for 2 years. How is it compared to the Rain 1? And I have to come back and say, I don't know. And I don't want to
do that a lot too. I don't know.
Because I'm not some loudmouth from New Jersey. So I don't want to look like, did I do it again? There's more money for somebody.
Or any
shots fired.
No shots fired.
And a loudmouth from anywhere.
No. And
New Jersey or anywhere else for
that.
that matter. It's how you
I want to be clear. There's no disrespect by me saying anything like that. It's just a joke. If I had an issue and there was money involved and sponsorship involved, I'd go to his boss and just pull the money in sponsorship.
Yeah.
That I'm not kidding about.
There's
Anyway,
there's no better place to air grievances than on Howie's Hanging
I
Out
think
show.
so.
Yeah, right.
This is where I push Howie to the side and go, so another thing.
Not a problem.
No, I agree. I agree with a lot.
I got
if not
5,000
everything that Bill is
listeners
saying.
on my podcast, so go for it. Yeah.
No, I think it's what you can take from it, and I think oftentimes it's very hit and run. I've sat in the driveway with an iPad doing work on the car, watching the video 100 times, and I may not have.
Yeah.
I've literally stood like, okay, oh, that spring for the emergency brake goes like that on the drum brake. Damn it! Hold on, pause, put the spring on, look, go.
Yep.
You know, and
Yep.
I think it's just one of those things we take for granted that we have this option. Christian Pulse and I were talking tonight about, if you guys didn't know this, 2021 was the highest sale of album and CDs in like 20 years.
Yeah.
Like CDs and albums, like vinyl, are coming back big time because of, I don't know, throwback or history, or people are weird, or I don't know why, but it's this huge resurgence. And I said to him, remember the day when you would show up at an event and someone would say, you have to play this one song, and you didn't have it. And the logic was, the reason I'm here 2 hours early is because I can drive over to Tower Records, buy it, and drive back, or call someone and be like,
see if that fool's
you
got
have
it
to
to
go
borrow
to
for a minute.
you have to go to the Best Buy and get this, or you have to
it's
go.
interesting.
You know.
I think we read the same article that they're buying the older stuff is selling more than the new.
Yeah, way up.
And I can attest to that, because I'm one of those that's buying some of the older stuff. When Lori says, "Oh, I love this song," or she sends me a song, "Oh, this reminds me of this and this, and I remember this from college," and I'm like, boom, I go to Amazon and I buy the CD. I don't buy the download because it's a lower quality. I'll buy the CD and burn it at 320, and then I own it.
Well,
You know?
to Bill's point, back to Bill's point. I mean, I think that. Sorry, it happens. Squirrel.
Where's Bill? Oh, Bill's right there.
The fear of missing out. We're going back to, yes.
Is Bill still here?
Bill's still here.
Yeah, he's still here.
Oh, okay.
I'm waiting on this one too. So, all right, go ahead. Right.
No, go ahead, John. I was just trying to bring it back around, and I.
No, it's
so go.
like, yeah,
I didn't derail it, did I?
Never.
Never.
A little bit, just a little bit.
No, for buying gear, I mean, you usually the rule is, am I going to love it in a year? You know, if it doesn't age out and it doesn't start looking like old technology, you know, I bought stuff that I thought was going to be awesome, not naming brands, just, and you get it and you try it 3 different places. You're like, I can't get a look. And then you buy something as a one-off and like, let's see what happens. And it lights the ceiling and the walls. And you're like, I can do this with it now. And it's now it's in the arsenal, you know, and then you build and you keep getting more and more and more. But I generally don't jump at stuff the minute it comes out, because, you know, too new, that whole thing. And a lot of DJs have like, let's have the tried and true. Let's get some consumer reports. Let's get some press data before we buy something big. But that's it, you know. But if something really strikes you and you just have to have it, you know, bite the bullet. Go get it.
Last week, I actually did a video where I was talking about sell it before you buy it. And what I was talking about with that is how, with add-ons, for instance, a lot of people ask about, you know, photo booth, fog machines, gobo projectors, and things like that. I need to buy this because I can upsell it, kind of thing. So they get themselves excited about a purchase, thinking that they're going to profit from it, when no one's ever even asked for this service or this item or this upsell. So my suggestion was, why don't you get a client interested in the product first, introduce them to the concept of it, and if they like it, then maybe make the investment. Because if you can sell it to one person, chances are you can sell it to somebody else. But it reminded me of something I wanted to incorporate into that somehow, but I wasn't able to, is a quote from Frank Lloyd Wright, of all people, who said, "Don't keep anything in your house that you don't either find beautiful or useful." And I think, you know, when it comes to making purchases for what we do, I like that. And I would interchange beautiful with perhaps effective. There are so many things that you can buy that you're just not. How much crap do you have in your house?
Right.
Stuff you bought for DJ purposes that you don't use. It sounded like a good idea.
Only because it's aged out. My thoughts, and this has a lot to do with your way of thinking, Brian, is the company says this light is made for this effect. And I'm like, I'm calling BS on that. If it doesn't do 2 or more things, I'm not buying it. I'm not going to buy it for just one thing. Going back to what Jay said. Oh, wait, I could put this Revo 3 behind me. Oh, okay. Wow.
Well, in Bill's case, with the Ape cans, I'm thinking to myself, I would think that the easiest reasoning I'd use for buying these, if I were Bill, would be to ask myself, will this make my life easier?
Oh,
and if the answer is yes, pull the trigger right now.
For sure.
That's the right purchase for you.
Well, you did pull the trigger, didn't you?
If it's going to make your life easier and be beautiful, do that. And and if it's going to make your life harder, like some big contraption you have to set up and store. People ask about the love letters all the time. Hey, buy those damn things when someone asks for them. Until that time, you don't want those things sitting in your house taking up space.
Or find a good company to rent them from.
Right.
So,
as needed, as per needed, daily dosage.
Does it make your life easier?
Yeah.
Better? Is it going to make the client experience better? Or is it just going to be like, whatever, it's a light, who cares? But I mean, I've been using this stuff for going on 4 years now, and geez, I love it. I don't want anything else.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here pruning for anything else lighting wise, because this is the thing.
But that's, I think, and you have the right vision. When I bought speakers years ago, I didn't buy them with a time frame. I bought them as, these are my speakers. And then when one blew, I replaced them. They'd done, I think I figured out my Yamahas did over 800 gigs. And then I got, when one went bad, I figured, it's like tires. If the right tire goes, the left tire might go. So I should probably replace both tires. So if one speaker went, but I didn't buy my JBLs with a time frame of, I've got to replace these in 5 years. Lighting is a funny thing.
Well, I wanted to interrupt you just for a second because I wanted to address something you had said. Bill, what was you had some really good phrases there. One of them had something to do with fear of
better options. Fear of better options. Yeah.
That's the one. And that's the one I would point to you for those speakers. Because I told you about those Evolve 50s and you looked at me like I had 4 heads. Until you heard them for yourself.
But I mean, I bought the JBLs in July of 2010. The Evolve 50s weren't out yet.
I understand that, but when I told you about the Evolve 50s, you're like, yeah, whatever.
No. And you were right. But
of course
there was also, full disclosure, there was also a contractual agreement that I had at the time where I couldn't do a video.
My point being on that
second I got the green light, guess what? I got the Evolve 50s.
But my point being is because you experienced them.
Oh yeah.
But you had no fear of improvement once you understood that it was an improvement.
No. And I had no doubts about your opinion, but like everything else, it is so much different when and this is why I argue with my company and other companies about trade shows. And I say, I'm a very hands-on buyer. Like I will go to a Guitar Center back in the day to see something, pick it up, feel it, touch it, and go, oh, yes, I will spend $1,000 on this now. Versus going to Amazon going, oh, it's $1,800. Yeah. Psh. It shocks me how quickly consumers will purchase things with no understanding about it, no touching it, no seeing it. Like I walked in and raved about the Ape Lab lighting. Raved about it when we went and did the chill room now exactly 2 years ago.
Right.
Exactly 2 years ago.
Almost, yeah.
Well, almost, saying,
within weeks, yeah.
And I was shocked. Now, I had seen your videos. I respect you. I respect your opinion. I rarely question it. And I was like, oh my God, they're even better than Brian described them.
Right.
They really are.
I try to underpromise and overdeliver. And
Well,
that I
you
do
did in that
really
case,
well.
and I could not stop talking. I did a video and everything about, like, you have no idea how amazing these things look.
Yeah.
So, but it's still that we all need that little handheld thing sometimes. And so I
Maybe that's where
certainly
Bill
respect
is.
and
Yeah.
understand where Bill's coming from.
Right.
I spent a year in 2000 online, found the Pioneer DJ forums, 2002, found the forums because I was going solo and I wanted the best mixer I could find. I went to 2 or 3 dealers and then I started going on to the interweb and looking around, and I bought the Pioneer DJM 3000. And I showed up at my first wedding gig and there was a DJ in the room next to me, and he walked in and looked and said, "Are you kidding?" I'm like, "What?" He's using the Newmark CDN 88 with a CMX 100. The CMX 100 was $150. The CDN 88s were like, I don't know, $200.
Yeah.
My mixer was like $1,100 or $1,200. It's showing up at the car rally going, "Hey, I just got this Subaru. Hey, I got a Toyota. I have a Lamborghini Gallardo. Oh my God. Like, that's the greatest thing." Like, but I wanted
You like
the
having your car in the
best.
shop. They're awesome. Yeah.
It took me a year to make the purchase because I had to answer all the questions of FOBO and FOMO and everything else. Like, is this going to be a regret? And it was the greatest thing I could have done because it gave me a sense of, I'm using such great technology and I can do so much with it that I'm better for it.
Well, just like Bill. I mean, I would rather see Bill be cautious
Oh, I would too.
about a purchase than be foolhardy about it.
No,
Well, but
you
to
can
hi-
go extreme on each way. I understand that.
But to his credit, though,
Yeah.
he asked both of us.
yes, he did reach out, and
He did reach out.
He did.
So
I
he
didn't
did
get
his
back to him
due.
fast
What do
enough,
they call
apparently.
it? Due diligence.
right. When
Yeah.
it sounds, I don't know, and I don't want him to disclose on air. It sounds like he bought it off an end user, got an incredible price. It wasn't like he went to a storefront and paid retail,
Sure.
No,
but
I'm
still
not
paid
kidding. I'm not
presumably a lot of money.
the W app. The W app alone was. That's. I said buy it, even if that's the only thing that works.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
I mean, I'm not going to disclose the exact
No.
number
Nobody's business.
or
Yeah,
exactly the source, but I did get them. I didn't buy them from an end user. I bought them from a retailer that was using them as demos.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So you got a very good deal on them. It
Yeah.
sounds like.
You did.
Yeah.
You really did.
And
And when the show's over, I will spec out the power supply for you, and you can have it in 2 days from Amazon.
Yeah,
okay,
there you go.
well, because I found it on one of our sponsors' websites.
What? Oh, you're going to buy the exact manufacturer one?
I was going to, yeah, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll
Some
talk
people
about
do that.
afterwards.
It's totally unnecessary, but if you want to do that, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll talk.
I
You know,
guess,
it's a
do you
switch
have a
mode
game
power
plan, Bill?
supply is a switch mode power supply.
right.
you know.
Sorry to interrupt, Howie.
No, you're not.
I am. Do you have a game plan with the lighting? Did you look at it as it's a long-term purchase, or it's this is flavor of the day? Because lighting is a funny thing. I went 3 or 4 years with the Revo 3 going, this is my lighting. It looks awesome. And after about 2 years, I started getting the voice in the head going, dude, like, if you get return customers, which I started to get, like your sister gets married and you're like, you show up like, ta-da, look, it's all the same. And I became kind of stuck on, oh no, lighting should change. Lighting should be like, your sounds great, you stick with it. Your facade looks good, you stick with it. Lighting is one of those variables that, do you venture into new territory because you want to have a different appearance?
Well,
I'd like to have a different appearance. I'd like to get that light you have behind you.
The atmospheric, the 10-year-old
yeah.
atmospheric RG.
Yeah.
Frank,
I would argue that
to quote Frank Lloyd Wright, television is chewing gum for the eyes.
I would
Not
say
to be outdone.
when it comes to your lighting.
I see what you did there.
He's trying. He's
trying.
He tries so hard.
Keep plugging, man.
It's cute.
Keep going.
It's so cute. So what I was going to say is, I mean, to just arbitrarily change something, I don't think is wise. I think to make an improvement is. So if you can make an improvement on something, and then change it. But if you can't improve it, leave it alone.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And to your comment earlier about looking forward, and I did a video years ago, and you and I have talked about this. So I'm not going after what you said as much as the reality. I got into upletting simply by calling clients for the next summer. Mm-hmm. So like in October, calling my summer clients going, hey, just want to let you know, I'm getting upletting. This is now 14 years ago.
Right.
Yes, it's I put a single color of light up on the walls. I'll have 6 of them, and it'll be like if you want blue, it'll accent the room. You can back off on flowers. I'm going to be charging $50 a light, so it's $300. But since you've already signed up with me, it would be only $200. Would you like that upgrade? Yes. And after the 10th client, I had no issue going to Atlantic City and spending $1,000 for the next summer's worth of lighting. And I'm like, I'm already up $1,000.
Would anyone like to
Clients
guess?
have said they want
that goes back to Brian's comment about
right.
Sell it before you buy it.
That's my point.
He's testifying like in church. Would anyone like to guess? Would anyone like to guess where
Brian's on fire tonight, isn't he?
would anyone like to guess where I first was introduced to the concept of uplighting?
I know.
I know you know. Does anyone else know?
Why, who?
Jay, tell him.
In July of 2008, Brian was standing out in front of the beautiful Holiday Inn on Touhy Ave in Chicagoland. I made a point of walking up to him because he had made fun of me in a video from Mobile Beat that year.
Yeah, because
in my soccer mom mobile with a bald kid that looked like Mikey Mike a little bit. And I said, I know you. You're Brian S. Red. You made fun of me in a video. He's like, whoa, what's going on? And I'm like, no, it was really funny. We start chit-chatting. He's like, hey, let's do a video. And we shot a video. And in it, I go, blah, 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 uplighting. And Brian's like, what's uplighting?
I had never heard that term before.
And I'm like, oh, we take a light, we put it on the wall, and it makes it blue or green or red. And he's like, no way. How much?
I went home and tried it.
I'm like $40 to $50 a light. Yeah, July of 2008.
You had a name for that. You called it architectural lighting beforehand. You just didn't call it uplighting, but you still had.
I wasn't savvy enough to even pay attention to what that was.
No,
but it's funny. You look at that and say, how far have we come? Like I'm the first to admit, I have now 6 moving heads. Okay. I have the 2 behind me, the 2 in the garage, and the 2 in the box. And I said 7 years ago, moving heads for DJs? Are you high?
Right.
DJs will never use, and all of a sudden it took like a year or two, and boom, trussing showed up, and all this stuff that we did in the Pioneer DJ booth. And I'm like, wait a second, you can't emulate this. And then that's when it dawned on me. I'm like, we do a trade show. We show up with a 40x40 with 18 60-inch monitors. We have all these movers that were big movers, not the little ones, big ass movers. And now mobile DJs show up, their game gets better, and now boom, look at the lighting. He's got 12 battery operated lights that he can wirelessly control around a room.
He's got 11.
Incredible show with it on the music mode.
I'll have 12.
Oh, I mean,
do you have the Fresnel lenses as well, Bill?
It came with both sets of lenses that came in the case.
Oh, wait a minute. You're right. You only get 2 sets of lenses.
Yeah, one
with the fixture. You have to buy the 10 degree. That's right.
Yeah, you have to buy the 10 degree.
Yeah, the 10 degrees I saw were like 20 something a piece.
Now, getting back, if I may, to uplighting, that is actually decades old, but they would never, ever put that out, among people because halogen.
Yeah,
but what they would use on stage, and I used them, 25, 30 years ago, was that they had a halogen light in a fixture, and they had scrolling. They actually had a motor scrolling, filters that would go along and
Right.
change the light from red to green to blue. And then the motor would stop and it would.
It was like a square
revert.
piece on top.
Well,
Yeah. And it would go backwards, but
Do you-
only behind the band.
I
Right.
think the OGs out there will know what I'm talking about. But there was a time when you ended your event, when you were done, you played the last song of the night. Thank you, good night. You turned the light show off, and you waited a half an hour for you.
Oh,
touch
you had
anything,
to.
because
Oh,
that stuff was hot.
Oh yeah.
The concept of putting something on the ground where a child could touch it and burn themselves was out of the question. That wasn't even
It was
part
out
of
of the
our
question.
universe or a conceived notion to do something. If you did it,
Oh.
you were foolhardy.
Insane.
Well, LED changed all that and made that possible.
Listen,
for us.
I'll be the first to admit, my first thought was not the safety of people; it was the cost of the halogen light. Back in the day, they were
They were
$20 or
expensive.
$30 each,
Right.
and if you moved that halogen light while it was still hot, it would break the filament,
Mhm.
and you're out $20-$30, which
Yeah.
was a
Oh.
lot of money back
Yeah.
then.
Well, the other thing was, and Bill remembers this. I know Bill does. You only had so much allocated power in a room, so you could run
Exactly.
all of these lights. If you put two, what would they call them? Like, like a I don't know, several 100-watt lamp. I mean,
We had
that was
500
powerful.
watt halogens in a par
They
64.
came
Yeah.
in, they came in
They're gonna pop it.
250. They came in 250 and 500
Yeah.
for, and they
And
were
you could
Fresnel.
turn them.
They called them
Do you remember?
Fresnel lights.
Right. But do you remember when you could turn them, Howie? You could
Mhm.
put
Yep.
the bulb in this way, and if you reached
Yep.
in and turned the bulb,
Yes.
it went from like a straight line to like a 20-degree spread.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something.
Mhm.
1997, I was using par 64 500 watt halogens in a church,
Yep.
which
that's
was
what I
a
using.
1907 built church called the Abbey, which was my office. And my boss had said, I have a photo here from a party, and they had two white beams going up the wall. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. And I didn't know what it was. So I went to San Diego Stage and Lighting, and I said, here's a photo. How do I do this? And the guy goes, oh, they probably just have par 64 halogens on the floor. Point them up. I'm like, oh. He goes, and if you want, you turn them, and now you get a different degree. And I don't mean turn the physical light. I mean turn the light bulb and something else inside. Because and I talked about this with Brian Dowdle one time. I said, wouldn't it be cool if you could make an LED par can that had that old effect where it could be a beam of light, or you could somehow turn it and go to a 20, 30, 40 degree spread.
But you can. You just got to put a diffuser on the top of it now,
But
and you can do the.
Yeah. They,
Right. That's
Yeah.
the workaround.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I always thought it would be
absolutely.
cool if
Yeah.
somebody made a par can that had some sort of an internal diffuser set up within the LED lights themselves. So by turning it, you could adjust the spread. Because now you
Well,
go from a
you could
wash
do that
to a
for
beam.
$60. You can do 8 lights, put them in there permanently, and then turn them.
Right, but I'm
whichever
saying how
way
you
you
get
want.
to a wedding and you're like, oh, I have a column. Let me turn it this way. I have a beam of
Yeah,
light.
you
Oh,
could
I have
do
a
that,
wall.
yeah.
Let me do this. Now I have this big
You're
spread.
not going to change it mid gig because they're going to be 500 degrees when you go.
Oh, they were so hot. They were
Well,
so
no. I'm
freaking
talking
hot.
about these days for the LED
Nowadays.
lights. They have those filters. They're
Right.
called LSF light shaping filters, and you can do that. You can have them permanently in there, and then turn that if you wish.
Oh,
But
okay. I didn't realize
Flip
that.
Oh,
them
yeah.
around.
it's
So-
$60, and you can do 8 lights.
I've got
Yeah.
rolls of that stuff.
Yeah, I
Just
got a
have it
roll.
whatever
I got
size
a
you
couple
want.
of rolls of that.
I get the dollar store version of that stuff.
So
Oh, I got
So-
it from ADJ. It's good stuff.
Oh, is that the one that makes your black and white a color TV too?
Yeah, well, there's Jay's diffuser.
Yep, there
But
you
yeah,
go,
you
Jay.
can-
You think I'm kidding?
Classic.
This is what's sitting in front of a Chave
Yeah.
Freedom Par, and I'll show you because this is without.
Yeah,
And this
you
is
did that
with.
before. Yep. Yeah.
These
Well,
damn
I'm
squirrels
working
are
on
running around everywhere.
S.
tonight,
Fred's
man.
intro series, smoking a cigarette, cooking salmon, changing out a voice coil on a JBL.
So to
All
answer
right.
Jay's
Yeah,
question,
Yes.
Jay said, did I have a purpose for them? These will technically be my fourth brand of uplights that I've gone through over the years. I started because I won a 4-pack of the American DJ Megapar profiles. The first year they came out, I won a 4-pack of those at Expo. I bought 4 more at Expo. Came back, thought I need 12. 8's not enough. 12 gives you, enough around a room. So I bought 4 more. My next event with them, like I used them on a couple weddings, but then at one point I had an event, I needed 20. So I went out and got myself up to 20. I sold those 4 years later. No, I didn't sell those. I kept those, but 4 years later, I ended up buying the Ecstatic, the who makes them? Pro-X. The Pro-X Ecstatics. Also a plug-in light, but it had amber and white on board. And I ended up with 12 of those. Still have those. It was 4 years ago that I sold the Megapar profiles and bought my Blizzard LB Hex unplugs.
See, the nice thing that you have here is now that you have the W app, you can mix all them together. So if you wanted them all to be a certain color, you can do that. Yeah.
But the reason I got these specifically, the cans, is because of the fact that they have the option of a much wider spread. I've said this before. One of the venues I'm at a lot is a semi-permanent tent. By that meaning, it is a permanent tent. It's just they take, it can come down.
I've seen those before. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So it's on concrete. It's got big steel beams for the uprights and everything. And so I end up placing the uplights at the steel beams. But now what I can do is I can have my unplugged at the steel beams, and they've got a 15-degree throw, and I can put these in the middle of the 12-foot wide tent panels.
Yes.
And now I've got, even if I want, they can be contrasting colors. I can do a lot more with this now.
I think you have more fun with them just creating patterns with them.
Yeah. Well,
they're dope lights. They really are lights.
Your use of them behind you on a video at that school.
Yeah.
The glass wall.
That's fun.
Yeah, Brian's the master of the remote control on that. He really is.
Damn thing in the world. Just push buttons.
By the way, Bill, that light show was so amazing. The client hired somebody else for their gig the other night. So I'm just saying.
And I did like that video while watching it too. By the way,
that was very kind of you to like the video.
I liked it too.
You couldn't come up with a Latin phrase, so you just decided to throw him under the bus instead of over.
Well, Frank Lloyd Wright said the present is ever-moving shadow that divides yesterday from tomorrow.
Frank Lloyd Wright's been in his grave tonight. Wow.
Here's a quote from Frank Lloyd Wright.
What are you talking about?
Brennan's a butthead. How's that?
Actually, buildings, too, are children of earth and sun.
Speaking of the original Frank Lloyd Wright quote that was brought up during this show, that was the beginning of the rapid increase in divorce rates.
Well, all right.
Feel good now, Brian?
This is a good place to wrap the show, Howie. Let's wrap it before I get started.
I have no idea what John is going to title us.
I'm going to break up with our audience.
Rambling.
Sounds like a John problem.
Said crackers and ginger ale.
Crackers and ginger ale solve all the problems in the world.
4 crackers. Yeah.
I can see the flags now.
All right. Thank you all for being here tonight. And if you have any show ideas, put them in the comments when this goes up. Probably in July when this show hits YouTube. And we'll be happy to help you out. So until then, good night.